Hello everyone, welcome to the day. We're going to be talking about the cost of auto insurance, what things affect the cost of auto insurance, and how you can help keep your premiums as low as possible and still get the coverage you need and want. Let's get started. So these are the most influential factors on monthly premium. The most impactful one is your driving record. If you stay accident ticket free, you don't get DUIs, and violations, all of these things significantly increase your premiums, so a clean record can really lower your rates. Young drivers, so age here matters as well. When you're below 25, the statistics show that you are much more likely to get into an accident. They're more likely to engage in behaviors that are dangerous when driving, like using a cell phone or speeding or driving too close. All those things are significantly higher with younger people. They get charged more in monthly premiums for that reason. After about age 25, that difference falls off pretty dramatically, and everyone else is pretty much treated. Age is less important at that point. Annual mileage. The farther you drive every year, the more your insurance will be. Just because you're behind the wheel more, you're more likely to be in an accident just because you're behind the wheel more. Driving fewer than 7,500 miles a year results in the lowest rates. That's a little over 100 miles a week, which can be like 15, 20 miles a day. Can get you there at up to 30 miles a day, can still keep you in that low range. It's pretty easy to rack up that many miles when you live, 8 or 9, 12 miles from your house. You've already hit 25 just to work and back. Not when you live from your house, when you work 15 to 20 miles from your house, that's a lot of mileage is building up. Anything over about 15,000 miles is considered high mileage, and that's going to actually increase your rates. And about 10,000 is where the sort of average person, 10 to 12,000, the average person is in terms of driving distances a year. And then vehicle type and safety features. This is a big impact. So especially if you have features like anti-lock braking, airbags, automatic braking systems, all of these things tend to decrease the intensity of injuries during accidents and avoid accidents. So they're all really good things to have in your vehicle. Your location is a big deal. So the frequency of accidents in your zip code. Also, maybe there's, for something like comprehensive coverage, if you live in a high theft area, your comprehensive coverage would be more. So in urban areas are typically more expensive than suburban and rural areas. And all of the things we're talking about here have been shown statistically to increase the cost of insurance for insurers. They can't just jack up rates because they want to. They have to prove that there's a reason for that group of people to be a more expensive group. All right, credit scores. People in some states, they can use credit scores. Washington is one of them. They tried banning it a few years back, and it was overturned. But credit scores are used. And the insurance companies have found that credit scores are very predictive for losses. So if you have a lower credit score, you tend to have more losses in auto claims. So there's no reason for that connection. We don't know why that is, but it does seem to be a very predictive factor. Marital status. So married drivers tend to pay less. And because they have fewer accidents or less intense accidents when they do. Coverage limits and deductibles. So the higher your coverage limit, the more your monthly premium is. So having lower coverage limits will lower your premiums. Also, having a higher deductible was a great way to lower your monthly premiums. But still keep you having that insurance in case something big and bad happens. Insurance can kick in, although you're going to pay more of that upfront cost for the accident. $500 is the typical deductible on auto insurance policy. That size of a deductible won't get you any benefit. Increasing up to $1,000 can reduce your premiums by 10 to 25%, and going up to a $2,000 deductible can save you 30 to 40%. So a deductible is a really good way to be able to get your monthly premium down somewhere manageable, but still have that $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 of insurance kind of in your back pocket in case you need it. One last thing on coverage limits and deductibles. If you've got a large deductible, make sure that you have that cash in your emergency savings account so that when there is an accident, you can pay your part right away so the insurance company can do their part. All right, the other thing that's a moderate influence is the number of drivers and vehicles on the policy. So obviously, if you have more drivers on your policy is going to be more expensive. And the more vehicles you have, the more expensive it will be as well. Although you can get good deals by having more vehicles, the overall policy will be more expensive. So if you've got a car that you really don't use, you might think about just kind of getting rid of that car and pulling it off your policy. Yep, that's the multi-vehicle discounts. Occupation, education. So these are the least influential factors. So these don't play a very big role. Some insurers offer certain professions lower rates. Gender. So beyond age 25, gender is a very small factor. Loyalty and bundling discounts. So this is where you buy multiple kinds of insurance from the same insurer, and they'll give you like discounts for bundling those together. It's kind of like buying a value meal versus buying a soda, a sandwich, and fries separately. If you buy them together, you get a really good deal on them. Same kind of thing here with these. Some factors that cannot be used when determining the cost of insurance: race, ethnicity, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, disability, or any kind of genetic information. So these are by law not allowed to be used. All right, so how do we lower your monthly premiums? You want to get the lowest premiums possible. First things first, avoid accidents. The best way to keep your premiums low is to have years and years and years of no accident history. To do that, you're going to need to not use your phone while you're driving. You know that, but I'm going to say it. Avoid other distractions. Sometimes we get caught up that the phone is the only distraction. Loud music, conversation with friends, like talking too much in the car, being too engaged in a conversation. These are all the kind of things that distract drivers. Don't speed, that's a really key one, and leave a large distance between vehicles in case someone else has to do an emergency stop. You'll have time to see that and respond. Or if you are slightly distracted, you reach to turn the radio down or do something like that, you'll have more time to be able to see what's happening in front of you. This is a really big one, shop around. Not all insurance companies offer the same rates. There can be some that are pretty big outliers. It's really hard for insurance companies to change rates inside most states. It's a time-consuming process, so sometimes you'll catch a company when they have a product that's way too inexpensive and they're trying to change it and increase rates. You can get in there and so shop around multiple companies. Increase your deductible. So this has a moderate impact. So if you jump up your deductible from $500 to $1,000 or $1,500 to $2,000, you can have a pretty substantial impact on your premium. Note that when you do that, you're going to have to pay that amount during a claim. Type of car has a moderate impact. So when you're going to buy a car, be looking for the cars with lots of safety features, and you can always ask your insurance agent to kind of run your premiums for a certain car. And also keep your car less expensive. And then the next thing you do is reduce unnecessary coverage. So as your car gets older and it becomes less expensive, you might be able to cancel that collision coverage if you don't need coverage for that. As well as comprehensive coverage as well. You can cancel those coverages as your car becomes less and less expensive. Here's some common discounts to help you save money. So almost all insurance companies offer these discounts. The first is a multi-policy discount. This is where they're encouraging you to, when you have an auto policy, to when you buy a home, to get your homeowner's insurance, to get your life insurance, your motorcycle insurance, your boat, your RV, all the different insurances you're going to get. They want you to have them with them, so they'll give you a discount. Usually it's 5 to 10%ish kind of a thing, but it's still a nice little discount. Multi-vehicle discounts. This is where that insurance company they want to have all of your vehicles in their company, earning them money, so they'll give you a discount to do all of your vehicles with them. That's another good one. A good student discount. So they found that people who have a higher GPA tend to get into fewer accidents or less severe accidents. So maintain a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and you can get the good student discount. Safe driver discount. This one can be big. So this is you're avoiding accidents and speeding tickets and other kind of traffic violations for 3 to 5 years. And when you do that, you start seeing major deductions in your premiums. This is a really small one, paperless billing and auto pay. It is enormously expensive for companies to send out paperwork all the time, monthly bills as paper. So they love to have that done electronically, and they'll typically result in sort of a small 2 to 5% kind of knock on or decrease in your premium. And then defensive driving courses. These courses you can take, and some companies will offer you a discount for having completed those courses. They'll teach you how to be more safe on the road. So bigger trailing distances between cars, not speeding, all the things you kind of know, and they'll show you some tactics as well to be able to just be a safer driver. All right, my friends, that's the end of it for today. Thank you very much, and I hope it was some good information for you.